we've lost our second game of the season after Brighton beat us 3-1 at the Annex Stadium. Before I go on a rant, I'll take for the goals. Cross goes in and Glenn Murray's there to flick it past David De Gea. Lindelof was solely at fault for that. He keeps making bloody mistakes in, no more than usual. Then they get the second goal. We fail to clear our lines. And then the ball goes back in and Shane Duffy's there, a defender no less, and puts it past David De Gea in the bottom corner. Virtually nobody marking him. Makes it even worse that it's a centre-back who scored. We then briefly got back into the game. Luke Shaw's looping effort falls into path of Lukaku, who heads it past the Brighton goalkeeper. Then Bailly makes an amateurish and stupid foul, which gave away a penalty kick. That was the worst performance in a Man United shirt from Bailly. He was absolutely shocking. Prone to errors throughout the game. And then they scored the penalty. De Gea got some kind of a touch on the ball, but he couldn't keep it out. But make no mistake about it, Brighton thoroughly deserved the victory. They were fantastic. The arrogance of our supporters before the game. We're going to beat Brighton 3-0, 4-0. I knew that this was going to be a tough game because the lack of performance that Brighton put in against Watford at Vicarage Road last week. Chris Hughton questioned his team. They had an open training session this week and he said in an interview he was puzzled by the lack of performance. So they were always going to bounce back today. One, because they're playing against Manchester United, and two, they wanted to right the wrongs of last week. They made us play poorly. They will not go down this season. Their home form will keep them up. So, Chris Hughton's done a fantastic job at Brighton. So, you deserve a lot of credit. You get it from me anyway, because I actually watched the game. So, yeah. For me, Martial should never, ever, ever play for the club again. He had an opportunity today, because of Sanchez unfortunately got injured, to say, okay, Mourinho has turned me into a squad player, but I'm going to show you against Brighton that I deserve to be in the team. And he does absolutely nothing. He was an absolute disgrace again. I mean, what does he offer? He doesn't want it enough. He reminds me of an X Factor contestant, Tamira Foster. That's who he reminds me of. She had loads of problems off the show and it affected her. And Simon Cowell did not want to sign her because in 2 or 3 live shows she forgot the words because she wasn't committed enough. And now she's in limbo. And that's what Martial reminds me of. Reminds me of her. Because she didn't want to put the effort in. She'd rather have what's going on in her head affecting her performance. She could have been a star, but she didn't want it enough. And Martial's the same breed, in the same category. He's living off that first season when he scored 17 goals. If he didn't score against Liverpool on his debut, he wouldn't have been treated like a king. Because when you score against Liverpool, especially on your debut, you could do nothing else in your Man United career because you're set for life and the fans will always adore you, even if you're going to play poorly for the rest of your career. He got fined because he went AWOL. I would have done a Costa on him. Yeah, Mourinho send him a text saying, okay, if you want to play silly beggars and if you want to treat the club with contempt, then go off to another club and be lazy there. And Martial is lazy, by the way. Just saying. So he needs to buck his ideas up. He should never play for the club again. And we should have sold him in the summer. You know, he's never going to be good enough for Man United. You can't blame Jose Mourinho. And if you do blame Jose Mourinho, you just remember, you lot wanted Van Gaal sacked. So don't go moaning and say, oh, Martial's not playing well because of Mourinho. You wanted Mourinho to get into the hot seat. You're the ones to blame. So don't blame anybody but yourselves, because you didn't do your research on Mourinho. Van Gaal, for me, was treated disgustingly. So don't give me all that rubbish about, oh, Mourinho's the one who's making Martial play poorly. It's him himself. He doesn't want it enough. By an average, not good enough for Man United. He can't even get into the bloody French squad. He never will. If Deschamps is watching his lack of performance today, bloody hell, he'll be going, do you know what? He's not ever going to get back into this squad because he doesn't deserve to. Luke Shaw, again, was poor. Pogba lost the ball loads of times. He was terrible. He's got the captain's armband, but is he showing any leadership? Is he showing anything to go, you could be the long-term captain for Manchester United? Don't think so. He was poor. You can criticise Graham Souness all you like, but if you defend Paul Pogba in that performance, then quite clearly you have a lack of knowledge about football and a lack of knowledge about the game of football. Graham Souness doesn't like Pogba. I think that's fair to say. But I agree with some of the things he said. The fanboys can have a go at me, but it's true. France, he was brilliant. But I can give a toss if you win a World Cup with France. I'm not French, so it's got nothing to do with me. The French aren't going to go, do you know what, we want the British to celebrate Paul Pogba winning the World Cup. They won't say that. They'll be going, why are you celebrating it? You're not French, we're the ones to celebrate. You don't have a clue to celebrate. Pereira again, as I said, against Leicester City, he was invisible. I don't rate him whatsoever. He is ban average. The sooner Matic is back, the better. Pereira's not good enough for Manchester United. And people need to realise that. Just like with Ander Herrera, you're not going to win the league with Herrera and Pereira in your midfield. You're just not. Matic, we need you back ASAP. Lingard and Rashford in the second half, they tried to, make something happen. For me, when Martial went off and Fellaini was on, we looked much better. It unleashed Pogba a bit more. He had a fantastic effort, which is a good save by the goalkeeper. So Fellaini for me changed the game, and obviously we scored from a penalty kick via Paul Pogba, 2 from 2 for him. But I will say on a good note about Paul Pogba, if he can get 10 goals this season, that's an achievement. I said that last season when we beat Swansea 4-0, that if he gets 10 goals, that's a good season for Paul Pogba. So he's on the verge of that. He's got about, 7, 8 to go. But yeah, good for him. So, yeah, it's a disappointing performance, but we've got Tottenham next week, tomorrow, which is very annoying. I've had to wait Sunday for the Brighton game. Now we've got to wait a week tomorrow for the Tottenham game. It's ridiculous. You want to bounce back straight away, and we don't have that luxury. Very, very annoying. And if Mourinho does get the sack, Martial will contribute to that. Martial will get Mourinho the sack. I guarantee that will happen. Forget about Pogba. It won't be Pogba. It'll be Martial. Because he wanted to leave. He's poisoned Martial. He's absolute poison. He should never play for the club again. But I've had my say on that. But the top Reds will not have a go at him. But I will. Because I'm not scared to criticise the fanboys' favourites. Because I know I'll be proved right. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you after the Tottenham game, where hopefully we'll bounce back. Fingers crossed.